So this class showed me how to turn this, which I hate, into this, which I love. So I'm going to spin my stash. Hey fiber folks, I'm Rachel. This wiggly little noodle is Newt, and you're watching Black Cat Yarn Crafts. I'm a spinner, weaver, knitter, crocheter, and dyer, and you'll get to enjoy all of those things on this channel where I talk about my fiber fun journey and share the process with you and make some great friends along the way. So let's get to it. Today I'll be reviewing the Spin Your Stash workshop video by Jillian Moreno that is on Long Thread Media's website. Long Thread Media publishes hand-woven Little Looms, spin-off, and piecework magazines. They also have a host of video workshops and short classes on their website. Jillian Moreno is author of Yarn-A-Texture, which is a knitter's guide to spinning and building exactly the yarn you want. She is also the author of the online magazine Knitty Spin. She has 3 full-length classes on Long Thread Media. She also has a class still on Craftsy, which is Ply to Knit. Jillian has also been featured in Knitty.com, Ply Magazine, and Spin-Off Magazine. So the class is 31 minutes long, so not really a class, more of a workshop. It's kind of a great lunch break workshop to check out. The class itself is $9.99, or you can get this included in Long Thread Media's All Access Pass. Their All Access Pass that includes the video content ranges from $169 a year to $199 per year, and those options will include all of the classes and video workshops on their website, as well as exclusive content, written content on their blog and things like that. And you can also get access to the digital versions of all of the magazines that they publish, or you can get digital plus print versions of the magazines. You can check out their website for more details. I'll put a link below. All of their classes do include a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is great because then you can take something, and if you really were like, I didn't like that, I don't think it was worth it, you can send them an email and they'll take care of you. Let's dig into it. Now, next to their classes, it will say sometimes video only. And I'm starting to see that that means some of the videos were brought over from other websites, like they used to be posted on Interweave and include downloadable PDFs to go along with the classes. This one does say that it's a video only. However, it does include a downloadable PDF, so I'm not quite sure why it was listed that way. You get 2 downloadable PDFs with this video workshop. One of them gives you a breakdown of the amount of fiber that you'll need, ounces and yardage wise, to make different types of projects from socks to sweaters. And the other one is a blank spreadsheet where you can log in all of the fibers in your stash, and she has a bunch of different areas in there to note, which will help you when you're deciding what to make later on and classifying the types of fibers that you have. So there's 5 basic things that you'll learn in this workshop. First and foremost is how to sort and organize your stash. Whether your stash is huge or little, she can help you with this. My stash is kind of on the smaller side right now. I've been through a lot of moves and a lot of purges in the past 6 years, so I kind of dwindled down on my stash, but I still had a lot of organizing that I needed to do with it. And I wish I had watched this video about a year ago before I did the big huge overhaul and reorganization, because I got rid of some stuff that if I had kept, I could have used some of the tips I learned in this workshop and had some more fiber in my stash. But thankfully I just got rid of a little bit and it went to somebody who enjoyed it and loved it. So it's all good. Next thing you're going to learn is how to save items in your stash, or when they're kind of past the point of saving and they just need to go. And I like that because it gives you a little bit of a little breathe moment that sometimes things are just unsavable, and don't save something that's beyond the point of saving. But she has some great tips for those fibers that are kind of on the edge, that maybe have gotten a little bit felted or kind of smushed from being shoved in our stash for so long, or things like, temperature and humidity getting to your stash over time, and that just can happen. So the next part is about repurposing your stash. And this has a lot to do with color. And she talks about how to combine colors together and how to create new colors. I think this was my favorite part of the workshop. This is where I got the most value, for sure. There were some fun tips that I would not have thought of on how to have fun with that and turn a color I absolutely hate into one that I really love. All right, now this next one I also thought was really interesting, and this is how to stretch your stash. Now I'm talking about stretching it in terms of a single project. So if you wanted to make, say, a shawl or a sweater, and you didn't have quite enough of the same colorway, and you can't get that again, she talks about how you can stretch your stash out to still complete a project that you want to make. And finally, you've gone through your stash, you've repurposed your stash, you've revamped your stash. Now you need to store your stash in a way that will keep it for a long time in a really good condition and safe from pests. So she'll talk about short-term, mid-term, and long-term storage ideas. Nothing of it's groundbreaking, but you might pick up a tip or two. Let's discuss the pros of this class. This class is easily consumable, and Jillian has a really fun personality, great personality. I really enjoyed listening to her and learning from her in this and her class that she has on Craftsy, and I'm excited to look at her other classes that she has on Long Thread Media. As I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things I got from this class is how to revamp my stash. When I get a color maybe I'm not too crazy about, like in a mystery fiber box, or what happened to me last year when I realized that my taste had really changed, and some stuff that I had in my stash for 5+ years, those just aren't my colors anymore. Or maybe I really loved something on the spot, and then how you get home and you're like, oh, that really doesn't go with anything. I don't know. So I thought that was probably the most valuable part of the class, at least for me personally. I think everybody will get something different out of it, but that was the biggest, best part of this class, was learning to revamp my stash, and also gave me a new perspective of looking at colors and seeing how I could turn something that not in my stash yet, but might go in my stash, into something else, and seeing the potential in it. So I think when you look at her talks about color and combining fibers, this could also help you when you're out and about, and say you have a fiber in your stash and you don't have enough of it for a project, or you just wish it was slightly different. Now when you go out, you can make a more informed buying decision to know what is going to go with your current stash and what you can use to make a smaller amount of fiber into a larger amount of fiber for a project so you can complete it. Finally, she lightly touched on some different plying techniques. If you want to learn more about plying, I know her Ply to Knit class on Craftsy goes extensively into this. I have to look at her other classes on Long Thread Media. I believe she has some plying ones there too, to see if those are as good as the Craftsy one, which is a much longer class, goes really in depth. I found that a lot of the Long Thread Media classes and workshops tend to be between the 30 and 60 minute mark, and a Craftsy one I think is much longer than that. Let's dig into the cons, and there's a few of them. I think first and foremost is that this is really, really quick. It's like over in a New York minute. It left me wanting more. It was just very, very surface level content, and she was just glazing over stuff so quick that even me, as someone who lives in New York, granted rural Western New York, and I'm used to things kind of being more fast-paced, this was even really fast for me. Now, it's nice because you could go back and rewatch, but even rewatching, you're just getting a surface level taste. So I work in copywriting and marketing, and this to me kind of felt like something you do as bits and pieces from freebies or a freemium to get somebody to subscribe to a newsletter or something like that. it was just so very surface level. Yes, I did get value out of it, just like a freemium should give you value out of it, but this wasn't free. This cost $10. But $10 really wasn't too bad. I mean, it's probably the cost of getting like a breakfast sandwich and a drink. And I was entertained and I did learn things and took things away. But something for you to keep in mind if you are looking for more in-depth information, this is not going to be the workshop for you. And finally, for a con, I guess it's a con maybe, is that this focused on braids. It didn't talk really about storage of bats, or if you have a drum carder and you have a lot of bits and bobs of fibers and yarns that you use to combine. She didn't really talk about best ways to store those small bits of fiber, but you could still apply everything that you learned in this workshop for all of those things. But just if you were curious about kind of deconstructing, you know, your bats or things like that, not going to be so much in your wheelhouse, but you'll still take some good stuff away. So what are my final thoughts? Well, this class did teach me some great tips and tricks, as you saw in the beginning, of, you know, combining this with this and making these beautiful rologs, which I absolutely love. And it's just so incredible to see how I could turn a color that is so not me, very Halloween-y. This was actually from Paradise Fibers Halloween box, into something that I will absolutely treasure and I can't wait to spin. Like even like these neon bits from in here. Now it's going to be more subtle, not so much like some crazy candy. So I think that that was really great. I just wish that we'd gotten a little bit more into some of these techniques, because she showed some really cool plying techniques, which you can get in some of her longer videos, like the Ply to Knit class and things like that. So I did take away a couple of cool things. I think just a little tip of the color combination from this, I think for me was worth it, because now I just saved the stash, which, you know, the box that this came in, it had a couple other things in there too, was, you know, $34 for this monthly fiber club. And instead of it being wasted and just lingering in my stash, it's now going to be turned into something that I'm going to spin and actually use. So for the $10 course of the cost of the class, it's going to save me from, you know, just having stuff lingering or getting rid of it. So I think for me, it was worth that, but I just thought I was going to get a lot more out of it than I did. So it's kind of up to you to see what it is that you're wanting to learn, what it is that you need to do to save your stash, to spend your stash, if you think the $10 is worth it for you. Again, if you have the All Access Pass, I think it's a no-brainer to watch it. It's included in the cost of your membership, and you're going to pick up probably one little tip that will be worth your time. So I'd love to know, do you have a fiber in your stash that you hate and that you would get rid of if you didn't know how to turn it into something you'd love? Let me know down below. And I am going to do a video working on the rest of this and making some more of the rologs, so you can see kind of that fun process of totally changing a color that you don't really like into something that you love. So stay tuned on the channel for that one coming up. I appreciate if you guys could hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Go have some fiber fun and pet a cat. She is author.